Welcome to another episode of Amped Cast, where we are bringing you the stories of artists behind the decks, behind the music, just to get a glimpse into what it's really like to be an EDM artist, whether you're a DJ, a producer, or both. We're here to share those stories. And today I have a very special guest, Revaeon. His name is Preston.
Thanks for
And
having me.
yes, so glad to be here. And this is our first time interviewing, yet we've worked together for 6 months now?
Yeah. First time officially.
I remember when you approached me after you played our artist party.
hmm
And I remember walking away. I was like, oh my goodness, he wants to work with me. I was just like, it was like a next level because, you as an artist, I feel is someone I really look up to. And so when you wanted to work with me, it really, really impacted me.
Yeah, I mean, likewise, I feel there's purity in it. And yeah, music first always.
Awesome. Well, tell us a little bit about you and your music.
So my name is Preston. My stage name is Revaeon. I guess most people would classify my style as sort of a cross between progressive house, electro house, and a dash of bass house in there. So very energetic shows. I like to get everyone participating. Born and raised in Texas boy, and I live in Austin now. Lived in Austin for about 8 years. So, yeah.
Absolutely love that. And I love how we met because we met through the music scene. I heard you play for a show and I was just blown away by the energy you bring. And so it just was a natural fit. And now we're here sitting in these chairs sharing your story. And you had talked to me about something that inspired you at a young age or at a younger age, like your first inspiration to music. And it surprised me at what you told me. Can you share about what kind of music inspired you in the beginning?
Yeah, I mean it's sort of a lot different than some people's stories, but growing up in South Texas, sort of country music was, like the main thing for me. All we did all the way through high school and even college was like go to the dance hall. We'd go to the dance hall, just listen to country every weekend, every single weekend. So that's kind of like the crux of what I listened to for the longest time, country and rock. And it wasn't until I went to my first rave around like 2014 in Houston, and that just like blew my mind. Like I could not believe there's that many people like jumping in unison. It just like completely shook me to the core, everything that I thought music was. And further on down the line, I think I started producing around like 2019ish, and some of those influences from country music, although it's not really what I listen to, so to speak, anymore, every day or anything, the quality of the songwriting is what really I loved about it. And there's such a space for that in dance music, especially dance music nowadays, where it tends to be sort of dark and groovy, and sometimes it's like a repetitive vocal. It's like shake that ass, get down on and like there's such a place for that, and I love the bangers, but like what I like to really focus on, what I've brought from that love of country, is sort of the idea that there can be this like really quality songwriting, like heartfelt lyrics and stuff like that. So I try to inject as much of that as possible in my past work and then my upcoming future work as well, to have that in the tracks, to give it that extra like something that you can really feel. So yeah.
Definitely, and it shows in the lyrics that you use in your music. I definitely can believe that, and it's so cool to connect the dots like that, the country music to the electronic music. It really shows, and I'd really like to dive into how you got into production. You said about 2019 you were producing. What inspired you to produce music?
It really started, I always say I started DJing first. Just going to all these parties and stuff, when I first got to Austin, and I kind of just became just burnt out on just like attending and standing there and having the same conversations. And I was like, I'm naturally a shy person, so I loved the idea of just like controlling the vibe of the room and not having to talk. So I just like getting behind the decks and playing the music and just like removing myself and just like controlling the vibe. Something I identified so well with that. And I realized very quickly that DJing like didn't really feed my soul in that way. And soon after that, it wasn't, even a couple months later, I picked up FL Studio and just started teaching myself, really just YouTube. Like honestly, just for all up and coming producers out there, there's a wealth of knowledge that's out there for free. Take advantage of it. I watched like thousands of hours of tutorials and production stuff on YouTube and other sites, and just completely self-taught, just like learning, just doing the wrong thing, figuring out what was wrong, and then doing it right the next time.
Mm-hmm.
And soon enough, I had like a couple bodies of work, and I think like early on, there's just like kind of the bones of tracks, just like loops, and then eventually I got to the point where I was creating like complete songs, and then I was able to get one signed by a label really early on, and it just kind of took off from there. So yeah, use YouTube.
Like, what's the craziest thing you have turned into a like something you produce? Like,
I think one time I did try to do something with my cat Anya's meow.
Okay.
Just to see how much processing I could put on a meow, and it wasn't good. But I think with some work I could do something there.
You could send it to Fred again. He'll do something with it.
Oh yeah. He'll put it on the pad and just like with his fingers just meow, 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 meow.
I love it.
Do the Fred again thing, yeah.
Do the Fred again thing. There's so many things that I've like wanted to send to Fred again just because. Oh, yeah. Talk about your cat. She's so cute.
Oh yeah, she's great. I got her at the shelter, and they, I was like, hey, I'm really interested in that one, and they're like, oh, that's the gasoline cat, and I was like, what do you mean? And she goes, oh yeah, he's interested in the gasoline cat. She like looks at her coworker. And I was like, what does that mean? And she's like, oh yeah, we found her like covered in like gas or the smell of gasoline, like as a stray. So that can mean a lot of things. Like she's kind of a lunatic. So she either like rolled around in a puddle of like gas under her car, or like some people out there hate cats and they're awful people, and I'm sure they do awful things. So I don't know if she got away from something bad or what, but that's her story.
Oh, now you have her.
Now I have her and she has me, and cats are great. I'm a big cat dad, cat freak.
I'm a cat freak too. I love like whenever I see your cat online. Does she like the music?
She loves the music. She will sit all of my songs I've ever produced. She sits in my lap all night long, and just like with all the noise and everything. And I call her like a little rave cat, because at this point, like 128 BPM is like her natural heart rate.
You need to start doing those reels for Instagram when you put the sunglasses on the cat and the cat's jamming out to your music. Like she could be she's like your biggest fan.
I know, my next social media star. I won't even have to do content creation. She'll just do it for me.
She'll just do it for you. I think that's something like Anya needs to be a star.
Yeah, that needs to happen.
What is something that you faced in your journey that was challenging to you that you had to overcome?
I think definitely just putting yourself out there. Like I said, I'm naturally a shy guy, so the idea of just like stripping away, like you have to be shameless. You have to like like to be an artist, like you're putting your art out there on display, and everyone's seeing it. They're listening to it and saving it and everything, and it's that doesn't come natural to everyone, not for me. So you have to kind of just like trust your gut, trust what you make. And now, it just comes second nature. But early on, that was a real hurdle for me. Mm-hmm. And any advice I could give is just go for it. Trust your instinct. Whatever world you create, you're inviting someone in to that world. So rejection is something that everyone goes through as a producer or a DJ, and whether you don't get picked for a show or a label turns you down, this is something that just comes with the territory. So like you will. It's not a might. Like you're going to have to build thick skin if you want to get in this space. And it's important to know that it happens to everyone. Yeah. Like there's, A-level DJs that send their tracks to some labels and they still get denied, like, because it's not the right sound. So every label has the right sound. Every club has, a certain set they're looking for to open for this certain person. So you cannot take it personally, and, just continue working on your craft, and, your work will shine through at the end of the day, and you will get opportunities. But, getting a no here and there will happen. More than here and there. It's going to happen all the time. But eventually those no's slowly turn to yeses.
That's a really good point. And like I feel like sometimes, especially as a creative, those no's are actually a hidden blessing, because you've got what's coming around the corner. Like
absolutely.
That's right.
Yeah. And let it fuel your fire.
Yeah.
If someone tells you no, all right, I have these like 3 tracks I'm working on that I'm really confident about, you know, I guess you're the next one. So just confidence is everything. Just be confident.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be an asshole, but be confident.
This is
be sure of
true.
your work.
Be sure of your work. You have to believe in yourself before like anybody else's, maybe, you have your friends and family that support you, but you've got to believe in your work if you want to make it.
Yeah.
I think.
I criticize everything I do,
Yeah.
music wise. And, you know, sometimes I'll work on a track way too long when I should just like finish it up and let it go.
Mm-hmm.
But these are all things that all producers struggle with, but, try to get it when you're working on music, try to get it 90% of the way there, or even like 80%. And then sometimes it's better just to let it go, because the things you start working on, that last 90%, like, a sound that's buried in the mix and you're just like putting all this processing on, it's like, no one, the end user doesn't care. They're not going to hear it. It's not going to affect the quality of the song. So you're just burning time at that point. So I always say, try to get your music, 80, 90% of the way there. And if it's good enough, someone will accept it, and someone definitely, the public will still love it regardless.
That's a really good point, because I think that helps with artist block, like stopping yourself from success by it not being perfect or
right
perfect in your mind, and
yeah, the pursuit of perfection is something that's just part of it, and it's important to know when to let your work go and just get it out there to the public.
Push it out of the nest so it can fly.
Yeah. So it's so important to just do it, trust your taste, and then there will be a community that forms around you, around that. So
that is so true. It's like sometimes when you put yourself out there, it can be so daunting, but if you think about it, you're not for everyone, but you can be for anyone, and you find those people that attract to your work.
Great way to put it. Yeah.
So now you are like fully into your music. You've been producing. You're doing bigger shows. What are some of your milestones that you've accomplished this far in your career?
Definitely, just having tracks. Obviously, play count is just part of the game. Like having a track first hit 5,000 plays was awesome, and then it became 10,000, then became 50, and then became 100,000, and then became 200,000, and it's like that's just insane to see. Because at the end of the day, like, plays aren't everything for sure, but just to see people resonate with the work and see that it's not just like being blasted out there to the ether and just like getting lost in space is just, it's a cool thing. And it gives you motivation as an artist to keep on doing, what you're doing. It's clearly something's working. Getting on labels, I'm happy with the labels I've got on, and I have a couple soon that I'm getting on that I'm very proud of.
Yeah.
That I can't quite speak on yet, but it's very exciting, and definitely the biggest company I've got with to release music under. So yeah, these are all milestones that mean a lot to me, and that kind of along the way like show that you're doing something right.
100%. And on your journey, I know you've made a really big milestone with one of your tracks hitting over 100,000 listens now, correct? Or no, you're at 500,000 now, right?
That's I think like total. Yeah, like total. If you were to take like aggregate all streams, all songs on all platforms, like somewhere around there. So yeah, it's nuts. It's I firmly remember when I first got. I kid you not, when I first got like 100 plays on SoundCloud, and I think I even screenshotted it and saved it, and I was like, this is insane. And so like looking back on that, and who knows, maybe in a couple of years I'll look back on the success I've had and think, man, like that was just a sliver of where I'm at now. Who knows, but it's such a fun ride regardless.
100%. And like each stepping stone is like meant to be savored. I feel like how good you felt at that like 100, when you hit that 100,000 mark, that is pretty epic.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, it's important to pat yourself on the back and sit down with yourself and just like reflect. Reflecting is so important, whether it's production or just the business, the industry as a whole. Sometimes as a producer, you'll hit a wall. And then I think every producer can identify with this, is that sometimes you sit down and you're like, man, like I have writer's block, or like, man, what I've made like isn't that good. But then you have to like you're on the verge of making the best thing you've ever made. And that's happened to me over and over and over again, where I'm like convinced, I'm like, man, that's like, I'm just like not where I want to be. But then like something happens like, you know, the next week, and I'm like, okay, this is the biggest thing I've ever done. And then if you look back on all those times that that's happened, it's a constant, it's not a straight line.
Yeah.
Success isn't linear. It goes up and down, and it waxes and it wanes. So, you know, you have to stick with it and look at it from a very wide angle.
Oh, that is so true what you say, because it's like I've had that same moment in my creative journey as well. It's like when you get to that where you're just about ready to give up, or you're just like, this isn't for me, or I'm having such a moment. It's like that's when the breakthrough happens.
Yeah, no, it's crazy that it happens like that, but like I kid you not, it's like over and over again that's happened where I'm like, gosh, I just don't know anymore. And then it's like, oh wow, okay, we're doing this now.
Totally. And now it's like you can lean into that and be like, oh, if I'm having one of those moments, it's like, oh, okay, something big is just around the corner. That's really cool. So there are some things that are really big around the corner happening for you in music. I'd like to share a little bit about like what have you got coming up next with your music as a whole, as well as then we'll dive into some fun stuff that you're going to be working on with us.
Yeah. You know, basically like all winter long, I was in the studio grinding out and just trying to make, you know, the best tracks I could make for this summer, you know, and I'm really happy with what I have. I'm working with vocalists, extremely talented vocalists that have worked with, you know, producers way more successful than me, and I can't wait to release those tracks. I'm doing, you know, some collabs with some guys that are from overseas, my friend from Finland, and that track just got signed, I'm happy to say, to NCS, which is huge. I know I said earlier that I wasn't going to say it. I'm too proud of it. I love it.
That's amazing.
And so we're really proud of this track we made, also with a great vocalist, Barmuda, and that comes out in July. So keep your ears and eyes open for that one.
Oh, I can't wait to hear that. Your music has been so inspiring and so fun to listen to. And, you know, you've been crushing it at different venues across Austin and beyond. And so you have something epic coming up.
I do. Yeah, I got a headline show in Austin at the venue on June 28th. So I've been preparing a lot for that. I'm going to debut all the new music, new visuals, new set from top to bottom. Everything's retooled. Yeah, I can't tell you how excited I am for this one. It's going to be huge.
It's going to be so epic. And when I share about his music, it is like you come out and the energy is there. Like you are ready for a show. I am so excited to have you performing. And so, you know, all of this year that's like been 2024 so far, what is something that has been most inspiring to you as an artist?
Man, it's most inspiring a lot actually. I think seeing where the scene is going. You know, I think you're seeing festivals left and right kind of fold and go away, a lot of them, or skip years. And you know, the economy's in a certain place right now with goods and services and supply chains. They're all messed up. So seeing all, you know, things get dialed back with live events, but seeing all of these homegrown things rise to the forefront, that has been awesome to see. So whether it's local shows or grassroots festivals coming up that like don't cost an arm and a leg for these big corporate companies, like I think like the scene, the ravers have really like taken charge, and you're seeing like shows in alleyways and stuff that are like look like they're way funner than some of the big festivals, you know. So it's like just seeing the community as a whole come together and like not letting, you know, dance music die out because of these big corporate events, because they're folding, you know. That's what inspires me. It's seeing people just passionate about the music, and they don't care where they are, or whether it comes with a fancy wristband or this or that. They just show up, you know. Whether it's, you know, you got in Austin, you got bridges, you got alleyways and tunnels. Like, it's the coolest thing. So that's really it for me.
A good old Montopolis Bridge.
Yeah. It's a good time.
It's a good time. And that's exactly what I think you're going to bring to the table on June 28th.
June 28th.
I'm
going to make you sweat. It'll be hot, but I promise you, you're going to be jumping.
Oh, it's going to be amazing. So really excited to have you there. And, you know, what's next for you as an artist?
Oh, just keep on doing what I'm doing. I don't want to play a lot more, for sure. You know, just doing that and production, and I just want to continue to collab with people that inspire me too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's awesome to work with people, you know, different countries that I'm at, because you get a totally different state of mind from them, and you get to pick their brain on dance music in other parts of the world that aren't, you know, just your local scene. So that's awesome. So
Mm-hmm.
just play more and produce more and all the good stuff. Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, you're doing something right when it comes to putting yourself out there in the scene. What is one piece of advice that you could give other artists, especially introverted artists, to share about their music and have the courage to share about their music?
I would say just don't stop. Reach out to everyone. Reach out to all your friends, all your family. You know, sometimes it can be a lot to you don't want to feel like you're bothering other people, and it's kind of like, again, you have to have that shame that, you know, to just be like, hey, I just made this thing, like, listen to it and share it to all your friends and family. Like, you got to do that, and don't try to do everything by yourself. You know,
Yeah.
it's work with other people, work with people that can help you get shows, or, you know, ask other artists how they're doing things. Like, don't try to, you know, do all your graphic art by yourself. Like, you reach out, collaborate with other artists, and, you know, a lot of good can come from that as well.
That is amazing. Well, perfect time to share your information. How can people get connected with you and your music?
Pretty much all the socials, Revaeon, Revaeon, on pretty much everything. Same thing with Spotify. So yeah, it's an easy one.
Awesome. Well, Preston, this has been such a fun experience. Thank you so much for being on Ampedcast, and so excited to see you on June 28th.
Thanks.